If you're on the sidelines of the Portland real estate market, waiting for a big crash so that you can buy your next house for a bag of nickels, I've got some news. It's not coming. But here's an idea, and just bear with me here for a moment. Where we're at is something that's starting to resemble normal market conditions. Not quite normal, but closer to normal. Back to like 2018, 2019. And that's not all bad. Let's look at the numbers. Because for the last 12 months, your typical sale price was $545,000, which oddly enough was the same price for the previous 12 months. So prices were flat, market-wide. That's not a collapse. That's just flat. For the last decade, we've seen almost an entire seller's market, with the mild exception of 2019, where it had started to level off before, well, you remember what happened in 2020. But for many people in the marketplace, all they really know is the run-up to the Great Recession, the huge comeback, maybe a couple of fuzzy years right before the pandemic, and then the pandemic again. But real estate markets don't tend to run on boom and bust cycles. And what we're seeing right now is a correction to a couple of booms, but it's not a bust. Here's one of my favorite parts to returning to something like a normal market. Negotiations. Look, back in 2020, 2021, if you asked the seller to replace a leaky faucet or fix a radon problem, God forbid a mold problem, they might still look at you like you were speaking a foreign language, because they knew that if they just gave it a couple more days, somebody with cash from out of state would come in and just buy the thing and not care what the problem was. Well, you don't have to deal with that now. That's better. It's better when neither party has full control. And speaking of all those cash buyers, there are still some out there, but not as many. We're not as dominated by that. People are a little bit more price sensitive, which means for buyers, there's a little bit more room to be patient and to look into things and not have to promise a kidney or your second child in order just to get an offer in or reviewed. Rates are back down around 6%, and that means that monthly payments are significantly lower than they were a year ago or 2 years ago. Not so low that prices are going to take off and that multiple offers are going to be the norm, but it's saving a little bit of money each month, which is broadening the number of people that can get back in. We'll also see more sellers decide to part with their current mortgage, put their house on the market, and we may get a little more inventory. So if you're a prospective buyer, think of 2026 as a year that's good for strategy. You don't have to be in a rush. You don't have to be desperate. You don't have to give up your rights or do anything stupid just to get a house. But have a strategy, have a plan. It may take a little longer to get exactly what you want, but with a good plan and a good team in place, we can get you there.